Hi, so I just finished installing my Badger 5 Insinkerator or Badger 5 500 series Insinkerator disposal, and I want to give you some tips on some of the issues that I had. So first of all, to remove the mount, so this is actually mounted on here along this edge that is raised a little bit. So what you need is you need two hex, these are the hex screws or the hex wrenches. And what you do is you stick it in here. You stick two of these in here actually, and you're able to just turn it. So when you turn it, see normally it's seated right above this little notch here. So it does take some strength to actually twist it off. And the best way to do that is to use two of these hex wrenches, stick it in this hole. Stick it in that hole, and once you twist it off, you could twist it off with one hand. I mean two hands, and you're all set. Similarly, when I was installing, this is the old one that I removed, but when I was installing the new one, this flange here that came with the disposal was actually in the bottom here. It was in the bottom layer, and no matter how much force I used to push it up, it actually wouldn't go up. I had to spin it and sort of push it up. And the reason why that's important is this thing is about 20-30 pounds. And when you're underneath the sink and you're trying to get this notch here to go along this rail, to go along this first rail, and then twist it on tight to the point where it seats here. It actually is very, it's very cumbersome and it's very heavy. So if you don't have this pushed all the way up, then you'll never get it to seat even on the very first edge here. So just make sure before you go under the sink and before you try to get it to hang on these rails here, to use some force to push this all the way up as high as it can go, almost flush to where this flexible rubber thing is, what rubber washer is. So just make sure you do that, because for me, I was wondering, you know, if there was something wrong with mine, or you know, if it was even possible for this flange here to go all the way up to the top, simply because I use some considerable force twisting it and raising it up to actually get it above these ridges where it was when it was delivered to me. So that's important. Okay, another tip is when you have the new one, make sure if you have a dishwasher to pop out the plastic that's in here with a screwdriver. That's actually in the instructions, but lots of times we don't necessarily read the instructions. But so make sure to pop that out if you are using a dishwasher, because this is actually sealed if you don't. And it would really suck if you actually had this installed and hanging and you installed the tube and it's actually blocked because you didn't pop out the optional dishwasher plastic that blocks it. So so that's one tip. Third tip is make sure this metal thing, make sure you put this in before you actually put this other end in, because you know, it only goes in one way. So just make sure you have this in. But I think that's really it. You know, hope you know, your install goes a little bit better than mine. Mine's took about an hour, simply because I had those issues and I didn't have some of the other. Actually, well, one thing I want to note is when you're turning this on, or when you're twisting this tight, you notice when I put these in, it sticks out a little bit. You're not going to be able to turn this tight if you stick it out all the way like this. So just have it a little bit. You know, you don't need to stick it all the way through, as long as you have something to leverage the force. then this just turns like that. So that's another thing that you might want to note, because this thing, once it rides up, once this guide here seats past this notch here, it's this part, meaning this part is actually all the way against this. So you're not going to be able to stick this all the way through, is what I'm saying, because that would actually block the tightest stage that there is. So, but that's really it. That's all the tips I have, and thank you for watching.